and then we'll let people come in. Good morning, everyone. Or maybe afternoon for some of us.
Good morning. Happy International Women's Day.
Whoop, whoop.
Okay, so we got to I'm gonna give it probably another minute to get everybody in here. It's a few of us in here now. So thank you for joining. We're gonna give people like another 1 or 2 minutes to try to get in here. You okay with that, Alex?
Sounds great.
Okay.
And as you guys are coming in, feel free to use that chat box, say hi, say where you're logging in from. You can put any questions, comments, anything in there. We'll save some of those questions to the end, but we want this to be totally interactive. Got a lot of good stuff to share today. So we'll give people just another second and get rocking and rolling.
Okay. So I knew about International Women's Month, but I didn't know it was actually a day as well. So I thought we celebrated the whole month, but it's actually today.
We can celebrate it all year.
Yes, we'd have to celebrate our women. Wouldn't be here without you. What's the weather like over there now?
It was hot. Yesterday it hit 85 degrees. I was like, where did this come from? I was not ready for it, but there's a cold front coming through, so it'll put us back in.
We're gonna go to 70 degrees and back.
Yeah.
Yeah, 40 degrees today, so it's summertime here.
Nice.
Yeah. All right, well, you know what, let's give it a couple minutes right here. Well, good morning, everyone who decided to join us. Everybody who knows me, my name is Greg Glenn. I'm the owner of International Minute Press here in Michigan. Full service printing, marketing design, sign company, knowing that we offer all types of business services, and one of them are direct mail. And as well as you guys know, some of you know that I have a background in digital marketing. So just today we want to talk to you today about dynamic direct mail, which we decided to figure out a way to combine direct mail with digital marketing. I have my marketing partner here, Alex, on the she's going to take over for you guys. If you have any questions, like she said, you can go ahead and type in a question and answer block, and we will be replying as we go. Go ahead, Alex.
Sounds good. Thanks for the intro. So today, what we're going to talk about is just best practices in marketing in general, some successful actions. Today's direct mail, how it's different, how you need to do it differently, the omni-channel approach. And then we're going to save maybe the last 10, 15 minutes or so for Q&A and then a special offer. So go ahead, feel free to put any of those questions in the chat and let's just go ahead and get started. So I'm not going to harp about myself. You guys, I know you can read, but just to give you some info, I personally have been the product specialist for this product now for about 8 years, involved in this heavily, the digital side as well as print. And if you are involved in print in any way, you know that the last 2 years, things have shifted, some in a good way, some in a bad way. We've really had to learn to adapt. So one thing that is important to understand and kind of bring ourselves back to is consumer behavior. We have to understand that first and foremost, just from a marketing standpoint, because we need to understand how things have shifted given the past couple of years. And while this may seem basic for a lot of us, it really is a good reminder and a refresher, really helps connect the dots when we discuss the strategy of things, why we're doing things, and what success means. So the average person sees over 2,900 marketing messages a day. And I even think it's more than that. That's every channel possible: digital, billboards, TV, direct mail, radio, emails, you name it. We're getting inundated. We're constantly being solicited by brands and organizations. We're going to get sick of our marketing message well before our end recipient is, or our niche market will. We are constantly evaluating and changing our marketing and our efforts, and sometimes we can't see the forest between the trees. So it's important that you kind of just rewind, put yourself in the position of a consumer, because that's what we all are first and foremost. Just because one single postcard or one single letter went out doesn't mean that your message was actually seen, acted upon, or even absorbed. So you've got to make sure that what you're doing from a marketing standpoint, you stand out, you stay relevant, top of mind. So when that person is ready, you're the one that they're going to remember. As much as we want to stop talking about this, as much as I want to take this slide out of my presentation, we have to acknowledge how COVID has changed the way the world works, businesses and consumers alike. It has changed so much that what we were doing pre-COVID is not the same successful actions and even just actions in general post-COVID. We're still in a semi-touchless world, and that presents a big hurdle if you are an organization, maybe such as a nonprofit, who's used to doing big events, used to being door-to-door sales or direct sales or networking events, face-to-face conversations, things like that. We're having more virtual and digital interactions, and that causes a severe digital fatigue. I mean, I joke all the time about, do you want to do a normal phone call or do you want to do Zoom? That's our day-to-day life. So you have to understand that consumers are busy. We're inundated. We are tired of seeing and being solicited by brands that we don't really have any interest or any services that we want to take advantage of. I'm not interested. That marketing message isn't going to be well received. So when you think about that, what are you supposed to do? How can direct mail play a part in that? And why is it so powerful now more than ever? Where do you begin? And if you have begun, how do you strengthen those marketing efforts to ensure that you are getting the best response, the best bang for your buck? So I'm going to just go through some successful actions and show you how these implementations can affect your marketing strategy. So the first thing is, whatever you do, don't stop. Don't stop marketing. Don't ever stop. And if you have stopped or press the pause button, you got to get going again. The world is getting back out there. Businesses are starting to open again. We're starting to do more. So if you have stopped, it's time to restart. Even though we don't have statistics on successful actions during a global pandemic, we do have statistics that show what happens when there are business interruptions, such as a depression or a recession or just a natural event. So it's really businesses that skyrocket, that continue to do marketing during those hard times, even when maybe you don't have the budget to do it. Those are the ones that aren't really interrupted, that don't really have a long-term effect. But if you haven't marketed your business in the past year, 6 months, or even 3 months, you might not see those repercussions, if you will, immediately, but eventually you will. I mean, we've been in this COVID world, this environment now for 2 years. So think of how long it's going to take to bounce back. So bottom line is, if you have stopped, it's time to restart, but you have to make sure what you do now is going to be successful and you're not going to be wasting money. So who do you go after first? Your customers. Your customers are gold. Your database, your in-house list is gold. If you have had to make budget decisions about, do I allocate the budget to acquisition? Do I allocate it to staying in front of my clients? Ideally, you do both. But if you have to choose, always choose your customers. You have to make sure that you keep that personalized one-on-one touch with them, because just because they've done business with you one time doesn't mean they have to come back and reorder. So if you're not top of mind for them, they're not going to be top of mind for you. So it does go both ways. So log into your CRM, do a deep dive. I mean, do an analysis on what those customers look like, age range, demographic information. And then if you do decide you want to prospect, get a list that looks exactly like those customers that do business with you. And that goes hand in hand with finding your niche audience. This is the beauty of direct mail. Don't just do blanket spray and pray, EDDM, every door direct mail. That works for some. It works for pizza shops. It works for maybe hair salons or nail salons. Sure, you get a lot out for a low cost, but is it really the most effective? Maybe half of those pieces are actually wasted because half of those people live in apartments, or half of them are males and they're not getting their nails done per se, right? So find your target audience. If you're spending marketing dollars that just hits the generic public, you need to scale back on that a bit. You know, postage is expensive. You know, print is not the cheapest form of marketing, but is the most effective because you can put your message in front of your ideal audience. So find that out. If you don't know who your ideal customer is, again, look back into your database and find what those people look like, and find people that look exactly like them. That goes hand in hand with direct marketing. What does that mean? Make sure that you are taking the correct message that's relevant to that niche audience and marketing directly to that individual. Make them feel as if you personally pick them out to communicate that one thing. Everybody wants to feel like, hey, this business really understands me. This business understands my needs, and I'm going to take advantage of this offer. If I'm not in the market to buy a new car, don't send me a direct mail piece about buying a new car. It's irrelevant to me. Make sure you've identified your ideal audience. You're putting the right message in front of the right person at the right time. And tracking. I can't emphasize enough how important tracking is. But what are you supposed to track? How do you define success? Define what you think success to be, and then create KPIs or key performance indicators to track those specific things. Is it revenue? Is it leads? Is it, some other thing that you want to track that's important to you? Whatever that is, there's no wrong thing. There's nothing you can track well enough. Track everything for ROI. Constantly be analyzing that data and do little tweaks here and there to strengthen what is working and knock off what's not working. But if you're not tracking, how do you know? You can't just say business is better. Well, how is it better? Do you have more leads? Do you have less leads, but those leads are paying more money now? Decide what success means to you and track it and use that data. But the final and probably the most important is be in it for a long haul. Understand that marketing, whether you're doing direct mail or not, marketing is a marathon. It is not a sprint. Organizations that get into trouble where they try to do so many different things, where let me do some Google ads for 30 days. Let me try out this direct mail and see what that works. It's not the best strategy. It's the sum of all parts. So if you can dip your toe into a little bit of everything and try it all together, don't just do it for 30 days. Don't just do it for 60 days. You have to be in it for the long haul. Don't stop something before you see the fruits of those labors. If you're a real estate agent, you know how long it takes for somebody just to convert, especially a stone cold prospect. So if you mail to them in the spring, but they're not ready to sell till December, do you think you're going to capture that business if you market to them one time at the wrong time? Probably not. So just go in the mindset that you're going to be in it for the long haul. It's a long-term game. It's not a short, get rich, get skinny quick type thing. Get your mindset right and be in it for the long haul. But direct marketing is important now more than ever because we really don't have the budgets or the time to waste reaching people that aren't responding, that will never respond, that aren't even interested in our product or service. So you need to make sure that the strategy that you have is getting in front of the people that are most likely going to respond. But how do you do that? And for the longest time, there was this constant, and really still, I don't know if you agree, Greg, that, do I do print or do I do digital, right? They never really played in the same sandbox, but they do, they really do. And you don't have to decide whether you're going to do some print or you're going to do digital, do both. Ultimately, all roads are going to lead to your website. So how in this digital world do you utilize direct mail? And that's really what we're here to talk about, is that dynamic direct platform. When you look at the stats, direct mail has constantly outperformed all digital channels. Now with digital channels, yeah, maybe it's a little more cost effective. Maybe it only cost you a penny to send an email, but if you got to send 1,000 or 100,000 when you could have just sent 2 direct mail pieces, is it really more cost effective? So when you're looking at the bottom of 2 invoices, evaluate those estimation of efforts as well. But ultimately, don't choose print versus digital, combine the 2, and that's what's going to yield the best response. So with our dynamic direct platform, that's exactly what this does, is it takes that one direct mail piece and it integrates other digital technologies like Facebook, Instagram, Informed Delivery to deliver those 8 to 16 additional touches. As we said earlier, repetition is critical. It's crucial in the success of any marketing that you do. So don't just mail one piece one time and see if direct mail works. Be in it for the long haul and mail multiple pieces, but this is going to pepper them with other ads that strengthen that touch point. So let's look at 2 different ways that people market. You've got multi-channel approach, and then you've got an omni-channel approach. This platform is a true omni-channel approach where we take that direct mail piece, we take that recipient and deliver that exact same message and imagery across multiple channels, versus a multi-channel approach where maybe on Facebook, they see an ad for one thing. Direct mail, you're giving them a different offer for a completely different product or service. It's good for your brand. It's good for your reputation and your outreach, but How do you know what people are responding to? You're putting way too many messages in front of them. Simplify it. So we take that direct mail piece, put that same message, put that same imagery across those digital plant channels and deliver 8 to 16 additional touches, all for a couple extra pennies per piece. So in addition to your direct mail, we're going to use something called social match, mail tracking, informed delivery, call and text tracking, social media follow-up, Google follow-up, and then lead match. So the first thing that we do, every direct mail campaign starts with a mailing list. You've got a name and you've got an address. What we do is we take that list, upload it into Instagram and Facebook, and now we're able to target those exact individuals that you're mailing to. And think of this, guys, as like a pre-warm-up or a prime the pump. We're delivering that message and that offer, that buying motivation. We're putting that in front of them well before they get the direct mail piece. This happens the first 2 weeks of the campaign. So what you'll actually be able to see in your dashboard is out of the mailing list, how many accounts we reached, how many ads we displayed to those folks, and of course, those that are clicking and going straight to your website. Now, if I get a direct mail piece, the first thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to go straight to your website. So now I go to your website, and then what happens? Nothing, absolutely nothing. I'm just doing my due diligence. I'm just doing some research. I mail one time. That's the only time I see your organization. So do you think I'm going to remember you? Probably not. But the reality is a lot of your marketing dollars are driving traffic to your competition's website. So we want to make sure that we keep you in front of them versus your competition. So the second thing that we do is track the mail. If you do direct mail, or if you're looking at direct mail, you'll find that postage is one of the most expensive parts of any direct mail campaign, and it's a variable we simply can't control. But what we can control is your visibility and your insurance to make sure that your investment, what you're paying for, is actually being delivered. So we give you insight into when those pieces are being mailed, predict when they're going to hit in mailboxes, and then confirm the exact day, who received it, down to the exact address. So peace of mind is important, but also timing your other marketing efforts more strategically. You wouldn't send an email before they got the direct mail piece, but if you don't track it, how do you know when to send the email? We're kind of just doing a guessing game. So this really gives you insight into when your pieces are being delivered. Informed delivery is the next layer of this. So anybody can go sign up for informed delivery. It's free through the USPS. And what it does is you can actually check your mail digitally. You get an email every morning from the USPS that tells you, hey, Alex, here's what's coming in your mail that day. I can see my bills. I can see whether I need to go walk 2 miles down to get my mail or whether I can let it go a day. So what this does is deliver an additional impression and allow your prospects or clients to actually respond to your direct mail. And they didn't even get the physical piece yet. So here's an idea of what this will look like. And now your message is going to look like this. Here's your direct mail piece, but now they can actually click on this little ad that's below it, and it drives them straight to your website, direct via to not only seeing your message, but responding to it in an instant. And what you will be able to see in your dashboard is out of the mailing pieces, how many we sent, how many had informed delivery, how many people opened those emails, as well as those that clicked on them, which drove them straight to your website. And something that's important to notate is clicks, right? Clicks are great, but it's also a response to your direct mail. Typically, without all of these tracking, if you send direct mail, if somebody doesn't call and say, hey, I got your direct mail piece, we don't associate or attribute any of this activity to that direct mail, although the direct mail is the catalyst that's driving all of these clicks and all of this traffic to your website. So it's important that you connect those two. It is a way, digital and direct mail, putting those two together for the optimal response. Call and text tracking is the next one. We can dedicate a local toll-free number to your direct mail piece. That way we can make sure that every time that phone rings, you know exactly where that person is calling from, who it is, regardless how your receptionist is answering the phones. And if somebody doesn't want to call, say they want to text, they can text offer or 20% off or whatever keyword, and then we send them an SMS text that they can click on, and it drives them straight to your website. This is really important when we talk about attribution. 9 times out of 10, receptionists don't ask the proper questions about, hey, how did you hear about us? And if they do, prospects don't know. They don't know, they don't care, and everybody says, I Googled you or I found you online. The website's a destination, it's not a source. So did you get a direct mail piece? We don't want to rely on the prospect to tell us where they heard about us. Next technology that we're going to use is online follow-up. I'm sure everybody has experienced this. When you go to look at shoes, or when you go to look at that Disney vacation, when you go to that website and you leave, those brands are following up with you, right? They're putting that message in front of you to remind you, hey, book your cruise. Hey, here's 20% off that purse that you were looking at. This works like a charm. 90% of people are going to go to your website, regardless how you market to them, whether it's direct mail, whether it's radio, TV, they're going to go to your website. All roads lead there. The problem is those people leave and they take zero action. So if you're a business owner, I'm sure generating leads and generating quality leads is a pain point, regardless of how well you market. So when these people are going to your website, what we're going to do is make sure that every single person, we follow up with them to make sure we stay top of mind, we stay in front of them. So when they are ready to make that decision, you guys are the one that they remember. So these are your Google ads, and what you'll see are visitors to your website, how many ads we displayed to those folks, and those that are clicking and going back to your website. And again, these clicks are a response to your direct mail, even though it's done digitally, even though it's Google. The postcard got them there, the letter got them there. Once they left, we followed them. Now, this is not just limited to people that visited from the direct mail campaign. Whether you're running pay-per-click or Google ads or anything else, any other marketing effort, it's also capturing those people. So the biggest thing with this dynamic direct platform is this is not meant or intended to ever replace or overtake anything that you are doing in the digital space. Continue to do everything that you're doing. There is less than 4% of campaigns that we've run in the 10 years we've had this platform that there's any cannibalization or overlap of efforts here. So we're not looking to overtake what you're doing. We're simply looking to layer onto your direct mail to help you get the best response. The next thing that we're going to do is once those people leave your website, we're also going to identify them on Instagram and Facebook. So if you've ever noticed that if you're looking for a new vacuum or a coffee maker at work, and then later you're scrolling mindlessly on Facebook and you say, hey, Siri's listening to me. There's that ad. There's that coffee maker. No, it's simple cookie-based retargeting, and it works like a charm. These people are people that are showing interest, that are going to your website and leaving without taking any action. So you'll be able to see how many people we've followed up with, how many ads we've displayed to those folks, and again, how many people have clicked returning to the website. Now, the best part about it, probably the crux of this entire platform, is lead match. We've harped, I've said it a million times, all roads lead to your website, all marketing efforts go to your website. The problem is once they get there, they leave. And then we don't have a lead. We can see all the visitors. There's a million people that have been to my website, but how do I follow up with them? How do I turn those leads or those clicks or those engagements into leads and into prospects and eventually into customers, into dollars? How do I convert those people? Well, the first step is identifying who they are. Lead Match identifies who those people are, those people that are visiting your website and leaving. Anonymous website visitors with 95% accurate residential mailing address. Tells you who they are, the top 5 URLs that they were on within your website, how often they went to those pages, and how much time they spent on those pages. There is no better mailing list that Glenn could buy for you, I could buy for you, the Man of Moon could buy for you, that's better than this list. This list is statistically going to convert 9 to 18% higher than a cold or a prospecting list. And it's pretty simple. If I'm in the buying cycle of purchasing a car, or at least looking at test driving a car, send me a direct mail piece about test driving a car. Don't send me something that's irrelevant to me. I'm not going to respond to it. It's really reverse engineering how we do direct mail than the typical spray and pray. These are people that have been to your website. We have their address. We know who came to the website from your mailing list. So it gives you attribution for the first time ever, as well as brand new people that you didn't mail to. Maybe you only mailed to people that are a 2-mile radius from your dealership, but somebody that lives 5 miles visited. Don't you still want to know who they are? Absolutely. Those are leads. Those are people that you've never mailed to and people that are now should be on your radar. So what we suggest doing with this is mailing to them, mail to these people. We have the capabilities to variable print people's names, print a, insurance quote based on how long they've owned their home, things like that. I mean, you can really get so personalized with this data and using it There's where direct mail is going, that one-on-one approach where you take this data, you take people that are interested and solicit those people versus solicit people that don't really need your service, have never looked at it, and don't really care. You're going to save money, you're going to save time, and ultimately you're going to get a better response because those people are interested. They're lukewarm. Some of them are hot. Some of them are already giving you that information. That's not the people that we're after here. You can filter these leads by city, state, and zip. You can filter them down by the time that they were on the website. But again, Lead Match, there's no better mailing list that you could ever mail to than somebody that's already on your website. Here's some real results. Everybody likes to see the proof in the pudding here. So this is a local university that we ran a campaign for with this platform. They actually only mailed to about 3,300 potential pre-qualified students for financial aid. And you can see those numbers. You can see that ROI, 7,000%. And sometimes what we can't get past is when we're looking at marketing strategies or we're looking at plans and saying, this is going to be $5,000. It's a lot of money. What do you stand to make? Let's evaluate the risk here. If one new student is worth $5,000 to you, we only need to convert one new student out of 3,500. Do you think that's realistic? That's a pretty low risk investment here. Now for a pizza shop, yeah, one new client is maybe only worth 20 bucks. So a $5,000 investment, that's a little bit more risky for you. So you have to really look at the lifetime value of a client as well as what they initially spend with you when you're looking at new marketing strategies. If you're in the political space, if you know a political candidate, or there's local races going on, we have a suite that's specifically for the political space, which we incorporate 2 extra technologies like YouTube and district targeting and Gmail campaigns. So there really is no limit on what we can do. There's never any shortage of ideas when it comes to marketing. It's really, finding the resources and putting those campaigns into motion. But all in all, what we're doing here with the Dynamic Direct platform is we're taking that one direct mail piece, delivering 8 to 16 additional impressions, increasing your exposure, helping you track, and really helping you get the best bang for your buck by not just doing print, not just doing digital, but integrating the two for the optimal response.
Good job. That was quick, Alex. I know you mentioned it. I just wanted them to know also when you're talking about logging to the dashboard, that's their private dashboard. They can log into their own dashboard 24/7. So if you're thinking about in the middle of the night, want to see what's my ROI, I will send you all a separate a login page where you have your own username, password, and you can track it at any time of the day.
Absolutely. Super important to note that you have access to that. There's so much data that we track in that dashboard that sometimes it is a little bit overwhelming. And, as a business owner, you've got a business to run. You don't have time to, do all these marketing things and really analyze this data. So part of this partnership when you utilize this platform with Greg and I is that we're going to help you. We're going to look at these campaigns together. We're going to do campaign reviews. We're really going to help you guys understand what this data is, but more importantly is how to use it. If we look in here and see that, hey, females, age range XYZ, those are the people that are responding, and you thought it was going to be males of this caliber and this blah, 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 and that's what you put on the postcard. Well, maybe the next round we split test it and say, hey, why don't we put a female figure or kids or something that would appeal to females, and maybe that changes the response rate drastically. But again, if you're not tracking things and if you're not using that data to your advantage, we want to help you be better, smarter marketers. We don't want to see you waste money because you obviously don't come back and, you don't get a good response. We don't want that. That's not the game that we're here for. So we really help you analyze that data in the dashboard.
Good. I definitely wanted them to know that. And building your dashboard is like, don't think it's an overnight event. It's going to take time. We're going to take a deep dive into who's your target market. We're going to take a deep dive into, what kind of campaign do you want to run? Like you said, it could be a female one time. It can be targeting a certain demographic. So it takes a while to set it up, but once you set this up, it's going to be on cloud nine afterwards. I think you have a question. Let's see.
And if you're new, and this kind of goes off David's question here, if you are new to direct mail, if you're just new in business or new to marketing in general and literally have no idea where to start, that's also something that we can help you with. We would love to schedule one-on-one strategy calls with you to go over what are your goals? What are you trying to achieve here? What is your ideal customer? Greg and I have done direct mail for a long time, so we know what works and we know what doesn't work. So we're not going to present anything that we know to not be successful. So that does take a couple conversations to figure out what that roadmap looks like for you, but just know we have all the tools to help get you there, but everybody's campaign is going to look different. No one size fits all type thing, but what is one size fits all are those successful actions that we talked about earlier that are more generic. Whatever you're going to do, be in it for the long haul, track, don't stop marketing, and always be evaluating how your campaigns are performing. That stands true for any type of industry, any type of marketing that you're doing, but we'd love to have those one-on-one off conversations with each of you to strategize what that would look like, what that would cost, and how to, what we need to move forward on those journeys.
All right, good job. Yeah, and also I think me and Dave had talked about this before, so thanks for coming, Dave. And I know already that we do some direct mail together. We haven't did dynamic direct mail together, but I also, like she said, who is your target market? Let's start off with your already clients that you have, and then some people that mimic them. So like, say for instance, if you're in the healthcare, Dave, you're targeting some people that probably want to do Medicare this time. You want to pull a list from that. If you already have the list, everybody who worked with me before know that I can generate a list very specific. Like I do direct mail myself. So my list sometimes are nonprofit. I'll pull up 2,500 to 3,000 of nonprofits. I would take 2,000 of somebody who has a 5,000 marketing budget. It can get very specific of who you want. But like you said, after a few conversations to have, we can kind of figure out, which route you want to go. Any other questions?
Looks like there was one directly sent. What do you need to implement this? You need access to my website. Great question. So we don't need admin access. We don't need any of that. Without sort of going down the rabbit hole, just keeping it high level, there are codes that need to be placed on the site, and we need to link up our Facebook accounts, kind of consider it, friend requesting from Minuteman Press so we can run those ads on your behalf. But as far as what we need from you is, the creative. We need to know what direction you want to go, what your call to actions are, things like that. If you need help with the design of the direct mail piece, Greg, that's something that we can handle, right?
Yes.
Yep, we can handle that. We can handle the digital ads. And we have a full support team that's dedicated to helping get those codes placed, kind of troubleshooting things. If you're not too tech savvy, we are. So we want to make it as simple as possible. But there are a few things that we need to cover. And again, more than happy to have a conversation with what that would look like for you.
You got one from Weber.
Dave Weber. Yeah, we can absolutely send over some case study data. Just know that, when somebody finds something that works, they're not too happy to share it, or they're not too willing to share the secret sauce, especially for others that are in their industry. Think of the nonprofit space. They're not just going to blast that out. Hey, we're a nonprofit and we increased our revenue 7,000% by utilizing this. Go do it too, especially in the same market. So we'll provide what data that we have that we've been given permission to share. Just know that some of them aren't super specific. Some of them are a generic higher level, just sharing, what they mailed, what they got, things like that. So we'll share everything that we possibly can. But ultimately, Dave, it really comes down to is if you are doing direct mail and it's working, this is going to amplify it. And if you aren't doing direct mail, or you're doing direct mail and it's not working, it's going to help uncover what is actually working and what's not working, versus just saying, I'm mailing out 1,000 pieces. I did it 2 times and it's not working. Well, how many calls have you gotten in? How many new clients have you converted? Without having actual data, again, it's hard to say, well, business is down, direct mail doesn't work for me. What are you tracking? Right. So again, let's go into, a one-on-one conversation. Be more than happy to have that with you and talk about what that roadmap would look like. Can you create mailing lists for pieces to be delivered for certain type of businesses instead of residential? Absolutely. So with direct mail, the list, we can get super nitty gritty. If you want to mail to people that drive a red Ferrari, own a parrot, and love to do yoga, we can get a list of those exact people. It really is that specific. So you outline what your ideal prospect or client looks like. We 99% of the time can get a list that looks exactly like those people. So reach out to Greg, Tiffany on some of those parameters and what you're looking for in your list, and we can get it.
And also, I was also extending these people out. I never put this in a webinar, but so for the first 1,000, the list of 1,000, I will let them know, get the locations of what they want specific for free for your first 1,000 leads. So whatever you decide to do leads, your first 1,000 will be coming free on my behalf of that list. We got Bill. I'm sorry, we skipped over you, Bill. How do you track prospecting customers when direct delivery is being delivered by the post office? Alex talked about it a little bit earlier, talking about mail tracking. I think that's what he's asking, right? On his
Bill,
dashboard.
where is Bill's question? I'm sorry.
He was
Bill,
up
how do you
before
track the
Dave.
prospecting of customers when the direct mail delivery is used, that is being delivered? Okay. I'm not sure, maybe he's talking about mail tracking and or informed delivery. So when you send out a direct mail piece or the next direct mail piece that you get, if you notice, every single piece has a barcode on it. And that barcode is just like the barcodes at the grocery store. So they know what's coming in and what's going out. So every piece of mail gets sprayed with that barcode. So when it gets delivered to those sorting facilities and into the destinations, they all go through that scanner. So what we do, each piece has like its own social security number. That barcode is specific to that piece and it's associated with one address and one person. So it's like, you know, tracking Amazon packages. We give you the tracking of every single piece that comes through the dashboard. But I think maybe what, Bill, more your question is the informed delivery. So let's say you mail out to a list of 10,000 people. Not all 10,000 people are going to have informed delivery. Not 100% of people are signed up for it. The USPS doesn't really do a great job of promoting it. But say 5,000 people have it. If they have it, we are able, based on that barcode and based on that address, to send them. We don't send them the email. The USPS says, hey, Bill, here's what's coming in your mail that day. You've got your bills, you've got a card from grandma, blah, blah, blah. But you also have this beautiful direct mail piece. And now you can click on that ad and it sends them straight to your website. Only people that have informed delivery get this email. Right now, 42 million people are signed up for it. If you change your address within the Postal Service, you automatically get enrolled in it. So I think that what your question is. If it wasn't, Bill, feel free to shoot Greg an email directly and we'll have more in-depth conversation to make sure we get all your questions answered. Do the names on the list come to us, not just leads generated, but the prospect names on the list? Dave, I don't know if you're talking about the lead match, but we'll just start there. So when you buy a list or when you rent a list, say we're buying a business list or just I don't know, you're a vet and you're reaching out to people that own dogs. We rent the list. So if you want names, if there's names available, we can get the names and then you get a copy of that list. As far as the lead match data goes, what it's going to provide to you is a residential address. I don't want to provide you just a name because what can you do knowing Dave Weber was on your website? How many Dave Webers in the world are there? Where does Dave Weber live? What was he doing? How do I follow up with Dave Weber? So what we give to you is a residential address. Anything past that does violate their privacy. So we got to be very careful with the data that we collect. But a residential address is concrete. Somebody from that address visited your website. If I just give you Dave Weber visited your website, you can't do anything with it. But what we can do is once we have these addresses, we can then append those addresses through a data provider. And 123 Main Street, we append it for a name. Property records show, oh, Dave Weber owns that property at 123 Main Street. So now we have a name that's associated with that property and we can properly address you on that direct mail piece. And Dave, if that didn't answer your question, again, go ahead and shoot Greg an email. We'll get all of that cleared up. But as Greg said, what we want to offer to you guys is, the leads. We'll create that lead match pixel for you. Totally free. We'll run that campaign for 30 days. We'll give you that lead match pixel to pop into your website. start collecting all that data, start building those mailing lists to prep you to do a mailing. Or if you just want to collect the data, that's totally fine too. We'll give you access to that pixel for about 30 days, and then we can decide, strategize, game plan what that looks like for you in terms of follow-up.
I guess the thing is that I think I was letting you know also, sometimes people say, well, you know, I mailed out to the first person, the first group. I don't have my budget not to mail the next month, but I just want to submit the list. These direct mail they work better together. But it's say, for instance, like next month, you don't want to mail because I'm the printer. But you're like, hey, I want to still use my list and submit it with save on the mail. You still can use the mailing list outside of purchasing the direct mail. If you want to take time off and say, hey, when I want to mail another list the same 3 months down the road, but I don't want to do it this month, you can just submit the names and just pay for those by itself without the mail piece. Is that?
Yeah, absolutely. And some, you know, some nonprofits don't have, and not just nonprofits, I mean, some businesses just don't have the budget to mail consistently every month, and that's okay. So what you can do is month 1, mail. Month 2, just hit those people digitally. We can use the same list. We can keep all of this going and keep that momentum going. And then you do mail every other month or maybe once a quarter. But what we don't want to happen is you mail one time, run everything for 30 days and really think it's going to change the trajectory of your organization. It's just not realistic. And we tell you, you know, you should just save your money because it's just not, it's not going to work that way. Some of these things, these strategies, you know, we can talk about that, figure out what a budget looks like, figure out, you know, how to come up with the quantity of people that you want to mail to. That's all part of this process and part of that, you know, strategy building that Greg and I would love to set those calls up. So if that's something that you're interested in, reach out directly to Greg. We'll set those meetings up, you know, get this in motion. And ultimately, we just want to see you guys get the best response. We want all businesses to grow together. It's how we're all going to come out of this. So any last thoughts, comments, questions, concerns? I don't see any more questions in the chat there, Greg.
Yeah, if they, like you said, they want to reach out, I put most people know my website already, but if you go to imppromotions.com, you click on the main site, sit up top, say, hey, I want to just send me a message or a quote. I like to get a quote on direct mail, dynamic direct mail, or just direct mail, or either or. And then we can set up an appointment right now. I think that would be it. I think one more person. Okay, I think that was everybody then, right? Okay.
Awesome.
I didn't know if
Yeah.
one more question.
Well, we appreciate everybody taking the time and hope everybody has a great day. We'll send out this recording shortly to everybody that couldn't make it.
I think we have one more question from Keith. Or
Keith, let's schedule a meeting so we can talk about that and narrow down that list for you and decide how many and what we can do, budgets, results, things like that.
Sound good. All right. Thank you for everyone for joining. I really appreciate the support. Have a good day.
Have a great day. See you, Greg.
Bye.